can happen in PUBG, and that's the glorious nature of it. We are going to the final game of the day. It's going to be Sims and Pansy bringing us the final Erangel.
Thank you very much, James. This is it. The last game of today before we move into our final 5 tomorrow. And I've got to say, like, Starladder, that was just cruel. To do Martin like that was just something else. Like, I am scared to see what else is on the horizon for tomorrow, because that was
just leave us alone, dude. I've got enough insecurities, man.
Oh, no.
Need it.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Well, that was an interesting one. I've got to say, Starladder's content, I know James touched it, has been so spot on recently. Like, with some of the face swaps, and then earlier on with the, like, movie transitions between the domino effects of teams pushing, moving on to another, the voice comms. It's pretty damn good, and it gives a little bit more insight onto how teams think, how to the communication. I liked how one of the things that Toby pointed out was, even when you looked at Omekan, whether or not it was just, you know, Starladder not catching the comms as such, but certainly when you saw Gemty moving around, the only person who was speaking was T. Sometimes it is good to, rather than too many cooks spoiling the broth, so to speak, of the old saying, having one person who can just be a focal point, a voice amongst it all to give some clarity. Like, you know, there's always those points of knowing what to say and when to say it, but calls can be so condensed, and can be so concise. I always remember back in the day when Leighton gave me one of these call-out sheets that they had written up for method, and like when you have back six, front six, they have all the individual house name 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like just little stupid stuff like that, where you can have every single nook, cranny, divot, ditch, doorway, rooftop, everything named individually. These players' call-outs are just such a treat to listen to at times.
Yeah, I think it's interesting to listen to a game like this. Like, I'm very used to like search and destroy style games. You know, I came from a little bit closer towards that personally as well. And I remember, because the maps are so condensed, you know, imagine it being just the size of half of Rozhok, right? Or something like that. You know, you could be incredibly clear, but there was always something fun that we used to do is, and again, this is something if you ever do play games like this, just try and keep it in mind, is keeping it to almost single syllable call-outs. It's small, but it does make a big difference. Easy, clear comms rather than anything else. I mean, it was quite fun when you always hear like the different regions and what they call things as well. I always find that quite interesting. I always find it fun to see, you know, the same buildings and similar locations, one being called, you know, X and Y, and all the different reasons teams call that. Or if they have overlapping comms. I think it was again when I was watching. I think it was when Ibby was streaming. Obviously he was playing with some of the other players from different teams, and they were discussing, oh wait, you call it the same thing. You know what I mean? Like, they were having these discussions of, oh, you call it the same sort of thing. Oh, you call it Tetris 2. Oh, you do that. It's quite cool.
今のアンチパターンだったらザーキってならないんじゃないか。
And you know, someone says it once and they pick up on it. It's quite fun to watch. But yeah, a little trick, just keep it single syllable as best you can. It makes it a lot easier to say very, very quickly. That aside though, we've got the circle coming in, Rich. It is centered up on Georgia Pole. Ansvar would be in the crates, living in the crate, having a great day, and just living his best life.
設定的に
It would be the best place to be at this moment in time.
99% ならなそう。
Oh dear. Pull up, said you did wonders before on your own. Can you do the same again? Do they know? Well, the damn well do now, but have you gone too early? Yes, you have.
多いな多いな。ちょっと多いな。
Thank you very much. So, said you were a savior in the last game, and this time not so much, my friend. You go down to the power that is Tempest. Tempest obviously coming into this one very low down the league table, but showing some good signs of life. Still can't get over how damn good that player was out of not just Clib himself, but the team as a whole, to be able to just rotate around it and work off the back of it. So there's definitely some signs of life there. Need to get a few more points today to get them up that table. Down in 13th is not the standard that they've been pretty much playing up to. To be honest, I'd like to see them at least in the top half of that table. Same can be said, I suppose, for any of these teams at this stage. We know what everyone's capable of. It's has to be said. Blaze so far causing problems. Yes, they are slowly but surely working their way down the league, down the table as a whole. But the amount of problems that they've caused rosters by just being there in their presence, it's uncanny. Either just pushing them into a different area and location that they wouldn't normally necessarily like to do, or been there for third party just to knock players down.
正式名称はジャルキじゃなかったかな、公式的な。俺はザーキって言うけど。
PSM biding their time to try and catch the final members of Liquid, who made up to the hill for now. Actually, somewhat unscathed, at least at present. Interesting route they've taken. Ron Weasley and Harry Potter in the car. Not. It's like, all right, Ibby, you drive. I'm done with this. Yeah, a little interesting approach. Sticking with it.
Just imagine Ibby just being like, dude, get out, leave it. I'll do it. We'll drag it up together. Unless K-Man just body.
C9 はそもそも NA だし解散した。
Quads will be taking residence by ends. Hoping someone transitions across. Should this circle actually go towards the north, that could be a really.
これはちなみに EU です。
There's 9 people movement on that eastern bridge. You do have 3 of them. North George, the central one straight out of Crates in this eastern side, which generally speaking, it's hard to catch people coming out of Rostock these days just because everyone knows about the quad stack and everyone knows that the people are always in there. For anyone that actually gets killed on that main road, it happens in publics quite often, but if you just drive down that main
明
road,
日もあると思うよ。
you're destined to die. There's a
EU
bloody big hill to the next of you on the right-hand side of the road. Just jump up the hill. Easy peasy. You then have leverage over the players that are down the quad. So it's not without its own downfalls and ways and means to get out of it. And that's why Ents will go for a 2-2, and there's 2 players further towards the northern side of that. Base Clan, picking up any final bits and bobs, bandages, bullets, whatever you want. Train out the vehicles. Whatever works.
最近 PUBG ぼちぼちだね。
Excuse me?
What's your favorite vehicle?
Any car, because I can't drive a bike to hell.
You do seem nervous on a bike when I watch you stream.
I
You look
notice I brake
nervous.
a lot, but I don't trust it. I brake so much.
Probably one of the
I've killed
problems.
myself too many times. Yeah. Honestly, I've just killed myself too many times, and I'm just not a big fan. At times I was playing with
love
Rob
the bike.
Black and just flipped it and killed us both. It's like, well, I didn't go well, did it? Great stuff.
You accept your fate though when you pick a bike, you know? You got to know there's a chance that obviously you could get PUBG'd. But I've seen you driving and it's mostly not you getting PUBG'd. But, you know. Interesting bandit positioning here. I'm finding this one quite fun to watch. So I want to look at the main 3 teams in my mind. Let's start with Northern Lights, very far north coast. They're as far north as you can get, up by Severny Way, just along the cliffs up there. Team Liquid, up on the mountain. That's quite a ballsy claim. Not playing quiet, Liquid. And then Tornado Energy on the very south pack near the Gatka field. So almost polar opposite ideas of how this potentially could go. You've got far north, far south, and central-ish.
It surprises me that so many people are going towards the north, given that there's what? I don't know. I'm really intrigued about this one. I'm not 100% clued up on where this circle will be going. With Georgia Paul Bay being in the middle, and the Snaking River running straight through and cutting it in half, there's potential for both sides. But it's just with the amount of, I suppose, up until, 2 and 3, the water doesn't mean anything whatsoever. I just always get really worried about Zaki and Northern Edge, Northern Coastline coming in because of the water, but you've got to have that northern shift. That's the thing. If you get that northern shift, you are absolutely laughing. Game frame, Northern Lights, Penguins, Omicron, Ents, everyone's going to be happy should the north come in. Where do we go?
Oh!
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Zaki ending? Zaki? Really? Fields? That is...
あれがザーキって言ってんな。
You got it right. Okay, let's just kind of take into and quantify this, Lauren. To be able to get the Zaki ending...
いや、フェーズ3次第だけど、
You need the
フェーズ3になったら、基本的に水が外れる関係上、この辺は入りづらいはずなんだよね。次北西に寄ったらあるかもしれんけど、基本こっちベッタになるはずなんだよな。まあフェーズ3次第だけどね。やばすぎ。
But you've got to feel people are going to bank on it being more eastern. They're going to go kind of see where the middle of the pack is right now with GF, Omicron and such. Hold on, this is Northern Lights and Ends. This is a potentially big fight. Squeaky's just got contact on Batulins.
まあ4と8だからね。
And at the moment it's just Squeaky here. I think the rest of the
4
team
で
got
はけ
away
切ら
now
ない
in
ようなセー
parallel
フゾーンの
with the
形
rest
に
of
なってたら
Northern Lights.
8で
So
切れ
this
る。
is trying to back up Squeaky. This is a compound they want to hold, and it's a really valuable one. Northern Lights sitting a little bit further towards the coastline here, but the Penguins are behind them too. So Northern Lights can be in a spot of bother here. They're gonna have to consider what to do. Do they want to win this quickly as best they can, which means it's risky, or do they just try and back away? I don't know what their options are here, Rich, but they're limited because look, there we go. Zorf just found deep. That's the Penguins. It's the pinch. This is rough for the Northern Lights.
It is. We'll hold fire for the second because look at this. 3-man sweep coming on the left-hand side. Does Batulins know? He has the barrel, be able to read it back, and they have been forced back. All the nades have been cycled now, so the
エンスとノーザンライツ当たってんの熱いな。ノーザンライ
still
ツ
bleeding at the wayside. Nothing can really do. So smokes will go down to try and hide and maybe pull back. That's a beautiful cheeky play from Tixu. Cat on a hot tin roof, nade in hand. If it finds a target, this will be the turning point. This will be the time to push and crack on with it. Batulins is going to
you're
try
a
and
brave
escape from
boy.
the life. A quick
Oh!
bit of a
Oh,
nuke.
God,
Was
one
it
shot.
too cheeky? It was. You don't get away with that. You don't beep away at ends. They punish him. Squeaking, playing on the edge.
あらーい
Trying to get out for the life. Zorf found in the mid. And that's Blaze. We talk about them being a problem. This time it's a bigger problem for the Nuclear Penguins.
話変わってきたな。
Different rosters. Ends. Beautiful. Beautiful position to be in. Well fought. Well handled. Northern Lights now, of all places, going back to Zaki, going back to their hometown. There's enemies in there. There's two
Hometown.
Penguins still left over that they have to fight for it. If this circle goes west and we go Zaki, I will be just blown away. Like, the amount of times we see the endings around the fields, I'd love it. I'd be all for it. I tell you who isn't all for it? Fizz.
ザーキコール。
Shifting away from them
Joe,
like
who
they're
really
in
doesn't
home
like
turf.
it. Rich.
ザーキ、ザーキ、ザーキ。
Oh no, of course. Oh no. Yeah, I forgot about them. They're still in the blue. FaZe actually aren't, but Navi's just below shooting range. Go on.
You can't even
Go
see him
west.
on the map.
Just do it. Just go west.
Hold on. So let's
このフェーズ3でほぼフェーズ4まで決まると言っても過言ではない。
Which could be an issue. Tornado Energy and Liquid have kind of not
これ俺今までほぼ見たことないな。こんなに西に寄ってるのは。
that run to the north.
ああ。
Fields.
こうなったら
Fields are looking likely. Good for Liquid.
こう
They
か
can
な
hold these compounds quite late game.
次もこう
This
な
can
ああでも北もわかんねえか。
Navi can slot
この辺が
in. Teams were looking at Tornado
切れりゃ
Energy.
済む話だから
There is that ridge line, but it is going to be open to potentially Liquid fighting them, which is not what they
まあ
want.
GF が
But
取ってる場所が良
again,
さ
you
そうだ
could
な。
survive above the compound with WPR.
イスタンブールワイルドキャットも
I
良
would
さ
be
そう。
scared of having red line behind me though. These guys are just super. I don't know. They're very fighty. Bridge camp here. Rich orange on the other side.
Needs to go soon though.
Oh!
by doing this.
Beautiful.
Oh, he gets them both and
Beautiful.
nails them. Is there a third one to follow as well? Is he actually committing to it? Clip has got out of the car. He's waiting. He isn't going to fall trap to this one. Pixel and Tom will do. Wookie Bookie's actually jumped into the building in front of them to try and drag this one back. We talk about camping. This has takes it to a whole new level altogether. He's got his pan and everything about to set up and cook himself a meal. We shall see. The whole point for a while, but honestly, that's such a sticky predicament to be in, losing two players on the bridge. Jesus Christ, as if you know it's a weird game when you get in bridge camped on the most western northern bridge in the game. Like, in what world does this happen? Good God, what a horrible circle, what a horrible transition this actually could be. One player, two player, I'm seeing a headshot in the distance. Mav's already tanked.
ああ強えフェーズ。いい形だ。
Michael falls simultaneously, QBE down, and Red Line have been dismantled by the red team. FaZe Clan stands strong. Ibis, last man standing. What have you got in the bag? Alia actually comes in, sees Gustav, so all of a sudden Tornado Energy have played a factor into this one. This has been beneficial for Ibis. There's now a chance. It's small, but there is a chance.
Dangerous game for Tornado Energy to be getting involved in this. Liquid now know who's where. They've got a good idea of this. Navi straight up crashing towards Ensign Blaze. You can imagine they're going to have a really rough time on this. Ibis, great damage.
あ強い
Big damage from Ibis. Denies Uber, and he almost got 80 down as well. This man is a danger to be dealing with, but can he find even more players? He's surrounded on so many fronts. 80 just has to wait this out. The nade came in. He's barely alive.
formidable. I want to go in the back.
Oh.
Does he expect the push? He does not. IT says no. I've had enough of this one. Jumps out. Nail in the coffin. Eliminated 16th place. Notch that up in the tombstone for them, unfortunately. Example now. Looking onwards of TSM. TSM do not know his position. And you said, by shooting into phase, you do give away some kind of info. Walkie Bookie onto Danaman. M24 comes into play. That's a bit of a revenge shot coming through if ever seen one. It's a distance also. Squeaky.
おー、エンサー上がるね。
Through from Diggory. Seals the fate on one player from Blaze. Moving on as well.
ノーザンライトめっちゃいい場所取ってる。
Tornado Energy's position still now wrapping. Circle goes away from them, but look at WP's position. Right on the edge of the circle, holding a very nasty compound.
Okay.
They're getting vehicles,
Did Tornado Energy from this? I guess transitioning away late game is going to be hard if they've scouted something better potentially, or a 2-2 that they could go to. I want to see if Tornado Energy and Liquid clash, or if TSM maybe fight Tornado Energy. I want to see who kind of catches that one. Ents are in all kinds of danger. They've got so many fights ahead of them. They do have cover to move to though, which is a kind of their saving grace here. Northern Lights kind of going under cover for a little while, but Perfectus did just go get found. So they're down to one player here, which is a bit of a problem considering they're trying to hold on to that top spot.
フェーズ5にならないと車線切れる場所できづらいよね。あるけど車とか使えば。
Split between the two, but you've got to imagine the Spyro. I don't think you can dig that deep here. Bit of a pull up from TSM. Luckily for Tornado Energy, they found a bit of a free building to take over. Going to get a free kill on Vex, but I don't think get the flush.
いいチャレたな。あと一発分早かったら終わってた。あ、あ、あ、あ、あ。
Liquid, you in this car. You in this car. You've had problems, boys. Swings it.
Who ate all
makes
the
it,
pies? Who ate all the pies?
Limping, isn't it? Good God. TSM do get away from it, or at least one player does. With the reposition for Ira. Might look onwards, but he's got problems of himself when it comes to Blaze. That's from... Oh, that nade. That's gone inside. That's going to roll forward. He does damage. He doesn't find a knock, though. Libsyn's limping his way across this one. Goes toe-to-toe with Vex, denied, instantly flushed. There is a shot from a distance though. Tico gets involved from GF. Vard, what's left in the tank? What have you got left to play with?
いやー TSM もきつそうや。
From a different angle. This is TSM's last down.
Yeah, Liquid now going to be on the kind of kill hunt. You have a 3-1 split. Ibby, K-Mind, and Mexi all together, and then Jeems isolated. And you can see how close it is. Look at the top. Look at the top 4 teams right now. 113, 112, 112, 111. This is as close as you're going to get. That one kill jumped Liquid back up into second. So again, this is super, super close. And that doesn't include the likes of TSM or FaZe. Let's ignore them for now. Let's purely focus on that top tier.
車の数が少ねえ。
They're static in this almost, but Bard might get a little bit too far ahead, or maybe won't make it that far at all. We'll see how far he can make it in this ditch in the vehicle. Does a desperate attempt of a play.
Oh!
Good try from Bard. TSM go down in 50.
Gets them into the 100-point club, and I said after today that's where you want to be aiming for.
Yeah.
Get above that triple-digit figure, and you're going to be laughing and sitting comfortably for tomorrow to give another crack at the whip and see where we end up. Yeah, you can't kind of talk about it enough, Lauren. From 4th to 1st, all changed by 2 points. Uber, jogging and healing. Does have a level 3 helmet, so there's something to be at least thankful for. And chest as well. Doesn't have a secondary weapon.
間に合うのか。ギリギリだな。
Whatever
間に合い
works.
はするな。
The barrel is all you need in this matter, thankfully. GF, they've been gifted a solid compound within this circle. I'd assume Uber doesn't really go too far in terms of looking where Team Liquid's position are, just off the side of the road.
ジムズに気づいたな。
Everyone down south. Well, this becomes problematic now. Jimbo's holding a very obscure angle, disconnected from the level
これは
of Liquid.
不幸にされるかもしれん。
Vitally important just to watch the backline to make sure that
これだってジムズ車あんのかな。
I get it.
なかったらやばいね。
He's dead, but can at least hold it for now. Unity, vehicles in abundance, and away we go. Try and do something here, but Omakan's directly in front of you. Don't skirt the edge too far, otherwise the opportunity to get shot at by those boys with the slight elevation they've been gifted. Evolution, last play for his team on the side of WP, center of the map. Same goes for Spyro as well, for the Northern Lights. They've been through the ringer on this one. No one man standing, but it's a decent position nevertheless. Northern edge of the circle, Ents, can you get out the grasp of Na'Vi? They've been holding him at gunpoint for quite some time. And it makes it even harder when you're surrounded by the rest of the remnants of players that's left over from the previous fights on TSM.
Yeah, this is a big one because this is a fight for the literal top there. Quizzy tagged up and being put down by Liquid. This could be a big pickup. If this nade hits from K-Mind, that's a huge victory for them. It's not a clean kill, and it's not even a knock at that. So for now, Liquid just have to be on alert that there's someone very close by, and Tornado Energy splitting along that far eastern side. Unity on the move, but how hard do they make it? Burning. Vehicle is done, and as is Danimon. Somehow, Orange...
ならそんなに奥に行く必要があったんだろうか今。手前で止めときゃよかったね。
Blaze might be able to see a bit of them. They've made it in for now. Not particularly long-term safety, but they'll take anything.
ジムズは味方のところに寄せるだけだから大丈夫じゃない。
Bogger goes down by the vehicle. Rather unfortunate.
Oh!
Reason Ent is alive. God knows how. Oh, Apocalypse pulls up and runs Diggory over. Instant flush, instant confirmation. Rust and Mass sees him and spots him. Now they can fight and send it to the back lines. Blaze has made it here. Thankfully for Ents, they just got the... If he banks off the side and actually lands this nade, that'd be sick. It pulls him closer, but that is something. They've done a hell of a lot of damage inside, but now the return frags will come through. Banks it off the roof. Does it find Squeaky? Does it finish him off? Jimbo down. Ibby down. Jimbo's flushed as well. Uber? The low-man ban must have caught him on the ridge line. That's the...
Uber に不幸にされたぞ。
That was their man standing guard to keep an eye and keep a track on what's going on. Liquid now have to force themselves towards Uber and actually put them out of place, which punishes them. K-Mind hitting the back from Quizzy.
わあ、やばいそれきっと。
Could play a factor in all these fights, having the open area around them. Ents
is doing great.
Decimates Blaze Esports and somehow stays alive. Keeps 3 people up as well. Lauren
へへ、1位やば。1位っていうか順位やば。114、113、113、112。
It's very hard to transition away from this if it moves towards the fields where someone like Tornado Energy will have the benefit. Although they did just have a player knocked, but Ibby has been flushed here. That's by Gemty. K-Mine trying to crawl a bit close towards Mexi, but Uber is still lingering in the fields like a little velociraptor popping up, hunting him down. Alia finds Rustamar with an aid. That's a big kill again against each other in that top 4 pack. Barely split between them. And we can try to find
Uber まだ生きてるし。
possible. Aid not quite in for Na'Vi. As Uber pushes up closer towards Liquid, and I think Liquid might be done. Yep, they are out of there. Quizzy claiming K-Mind is big. Wow. Liquid go down in the position they're at. Now it's up towards Northern Lights, Ents, and Tornado Energy. Push further ahead. Tico doesn't even have a scope. Maybe you don't need it. I mean, it looks pretty good just on stock right now. Good enough to find Kemba. Maybe good enough to find...
Oh!
Oh no.
Maybe not. Goodbye. Pick your poison. You're done. Na'Vi won your building. You have been evicted.
あらー。あらー。
Potentially, but he now knows there is danger of putting a player inside the building. Arb oversteps the boundaries and actually gets the job done. Na'Vi down in 10. Ents moving as the pack. Needs to be a nice clean sweep here. Party Beetle tanked up. Arb out of the building as well, just watching through the window. Do they realize Tech is so close? Arb's actually got a different angle to what they probably anticipate. All these dead bodies just tells the tale of what's been happening towards the northern side of the circle. And remember, when all this fighting's said and done, you then have to face the final boss. Example and Alia wait within the ditch, bated breath. And just so you
Uber よく上げてるな、一人で順位。
How are you doing this? I know you're a bit of a god individually, but Christ, you should not be alive in this circle.
順位で言ったら十分すぎるぐらい上げたでしょう。
Big old lob towards example. That's gonna be frustrating. It should be a res, I think. Oh, if Tixu gets another. Go on, Tixu. Is that good? And let's see. Does that quite find Alia? It might do. Oh, that's huge. Tixu, because remember, Tornado Energy are in a big 2-2 split, an unrecoverable 2-2. If they lose out on, you know, one of these 2 splits, you can't get them back on their feet, and that's exactly what's happened here. So Melman and who's the other player over there? I think it's Quizzy. Can't be picked up. Oh, sorry, they can't get to pick up their teammates. So, unless they do a mad send with a vehicle, which is super risky, but Melman's in a vehicle, and I mean, he's trying it. He's trying to get Alia back up.
弾40発しかね。
Madness. body to clearly pick up the smokes off of his corpse. Puts them down. If he gets this revive, that is just nutty. Puts the smokes down to deny vision from his right-hand side. Is that because...
I don't know what happened.
This is a better position, right?
Absolutely. It's just I don't know how Quizzy died. But all that aside, Ents now need to make their way across. In about, what, 13 seconds, they've got to move over. Omicron about to send up to the opposing side. You've got GF in a similar position. Ents might wipe themselves out before they get the chance to face off against Tornado Energy, just purely because maybe GF sees them or anyone else. A lot of eyes will be trained on this angle, so Tornado Energy can walk away pretty victorious from this. That's the big fight here. First against second, Squeaky on the send, going far east, keeping eyes towards that, looking to see if he can grab the attention of Melman and Coco. Spyro's gone down. That's Northern Lights eliminated at this point. Now, we're going to have to look towards Tornado Energy and Ents as to who finishes potentially first. But beyond that, Omicron looking very pretty here. 4 standing, good side of the circle. Can they be clean though?
With a bit of a spam and a nade, it comes through finally. Body Beetle down, more nades will follow. Ab there, Tekers, he's involved, but my god, he has no HP. If he walks forward, that's a whole lot of fire on the floor for him to be standing on.
Ents
One
in the
behind
push.
him also. You'd expect a full clean sweep on this. Ents do get involved onto the backside of Tornado Energy. They remove them from the ditch, and now they can go toe to toe. Across the road. Finally, they find him, and he's down, so this is clean. But it's 2 sides of the roads, a team of 3 and a team of 4. How much utility do you have left? That's the bigger question. You can see the smokes have been thrown in the road. Help deny vision. Rustamara's going to lob some flashbangs over here, be a bit of a nuisance, and maybe push them back. Evolution's about to go toe-to-toe against Uber.
ウーバー上げるな
Standing strong. Ents. What a turn we've seen over this past month. This team is just, I mean, for the players of like Rustamar and Squeaky, so resilient to go through the ringer of the ups and downs that they've had.
Yep.
And to now to be standing second, potentially on the cusp of first place. My word.
これは気づけんやろ
To end in this competition as top 3 from where we've seen them in certain places barely qualifying.
Let's see if
Parallel
T-Bone and
they
Paige
will
see
run.
this. Yeah.
It's these solo snakes that are my problem, Lauren. They've got to deal with them first, otherwise the backside isn't clean.
I agree, but I think they'll almost handle each other. I don't think that Uber could get a clean shot towards Ents without Evolution finding him, and the same can be said either way, because the Blue's going to force them forward pretty soon. So I don't think it's actually as much of a problem because there's 2 of them here. If it was just one, yeah, huge threat. But for now, I think they need to be really focused on Omicron, because Omicron are a team that will push kind of scenarios that are quite dangerous if they're feeling it, and they should be feeling it. They're in a really good position. They have the superior numbers to everyone. So keep your eyes on what they attempt here. I like the mirrored approach, keeping Vazku and Squeaky back towards the north side, just in case anyone tries to flank it out. Evolution should shoot Uber. Don't know which way it's going to win out.
これは気づけん
It does
わ
go Evolution's way, but now they know what's on that side. So Rustamar and Tixu instantly focus towards it.
It's on fire.
あーどっか行っちゃった
If he somehow hits this nade, Lauren, that's going to be just
Oh!
so catastrophic. It's Vasco who actually hits one.
They might push this. Honestly, if I'm Omicron, I'm really considering pushing it at some point. I don't know how they want to
Boo
call
boo
it.
go.
I think for bigger picture, you focus on playing towards the favorable side that you currently have. But there is a real temptation to just push that one out. But I guess there's an unknown quantity in the fact of the Wildcats, which now becomes a
イ
problem.
スタンブールワイルドキャット次第だな
Just gone down to the blue. I don't know how that happened. Maybe misreading the circle for a second. 7 seconds to potentially get a good couple of players up for Ents. Now she created, gets some fire back. Hits the deck, gets the heal. Now, center point is going to be owned by Omicron, but look at Gemty. Look at this
Gemty
isolated
やら
play.
かしそう
Be careful, because it seems like he's unaware that Levin might be in this position. Very focused on she created. Rustamar's dead in the water. That's done for. Tixu finds Evolution. More points to be had for Ents, but they are down to limited numbers. Omicron, a couple of fights on a couple of fronts, though. They could be isolated, but it's down to someone like Levin or she created to instigate this, because right now, Omicron should be able to handle the pressure.
Such an
Heat up.
action, though, towards IW. And there's no real hard cover for them to... I mean, you have a slight dip in the road, but... The backlines have to be held. That one player, Vasco, is so vitally important, and now they can open up from 2.
さすがにきちいな
Clear the backline. Empty. Sees him dead to rights. Gets both of them. Bangs them out. and they're into second place. Now all four players standing for Omakun. Lay down the law. Jempty is feeling it. He's going off. This is surely Omakun's game.
Oh
They're
my.
firing on all cylinders. It's job done. Match 15, we end it with a win. 12 kills. 22-point game to solidify Saturday. That is massive. That is huge. That is a great run for Omakun and a nice way to end it, to be fair, rolling into tomorrow.
I mean, does this now kind of reawaken that threat that everyone had with Omakun as when they play well, they are a team to keep your eye on. When they have those hot games, they put up 20 points. When they have those hot days, they
総合はどうなることやら。
so far ahead than the rest of the lobby. We haven't quite seen that Omakun. We've seen a good Omakun, but not a great Omakun. But if that's a sign of things to come, the rest of the lobby needs to be careful. But enough from us. Let's hand it over to Handsome Squidward and the boys to break down what we just witnessed.
Oh, that's right, we're back. We have a big win for Omakun coming in there as things are getting, the mood lighting setting in. Omakun gets themselves the win, and it is an exciting time. Huge points coming in there, Toby, for them, and they were there in that field for a long time throughout that game. They knew where that was going for the most part.
I mean, even you said it as well. There's no reason to go Sagi. It always ends down by that freaking field, and it's true. I mean, it did. And to be fair, when I saw Omakun there early, I thought this was going to be one of the games where we see Omakun in a great position, where they just aren't going to be able to bring it home. But thank God it wasn't the case. That position, though, the reason I'm saying it is, it's extremely difficult to defend if you're having teams all around you. And somehow, unfortunately, Omakun were able to keep the pressure off of them, force teams into other directions, and got themselves a really great end game out of it.
Yeah, definitely so. Martin?
I just want to say, did you guys see that the Tempus boys knocked and finished off set and shot a few more bullets into there just for the BM, and then Unity ended up camming them on the North George Bridge and they lost 2 guys. I love that. I love the little inside drama there, so I gotta point it out though. No, I love these northern endings, but as you said yourself, boys, it often ends on the field, so you kind of have to play around that. And I really liked how many teams were able to push towards these houses where game frame was and try to breach and try to reposition around it. It ended up not paying out too well because it's always hard to get out of that position because it always ends south of it.
なんでこれこんなにフラフラ運転してたんだろうな。不思議だった。
Omakun though, really great game from them. They took that position early because they know it's so strong. Ended up with a good amount of kills with a great win for them as well.
Yeah, very nicely done here as we take a look at game frame. And one moment in this game puzzled us a little bit because, Toby, they used what was, I think Martin calculated, 14...
ここキルログ落下になってたの謎だった。
I mean, the saying rather safe than sorry goes a long way, and to a big extent I agree with it, but there's also a way where you're just wasting utility. I mean, utility management is a conversation that's not mentioned too often in PUBG, but a very relevant one, and that especially when we're in these open areas of the map where you're very limited in terms of what you have for cover. Using 14 smokes for a crossing that you could probably have done with 3 and safely done with, I want to say, 5 or 6. That's just wasting utility force. I mean, that's to me that sends a signal of you playing.
Omakun 22 ポイントか。
There's 22 points coming for Omakun. They're going to be pushing up towards the top here, but Ents once again 12 points on the board. That will probably solidify them in first place when we look at the overall stats coming in. And game frame get themselves 11 points on the board, Martin. That's very respectable.
Yeah, they were holding out this compound that we often see manage to get a lot of wins, a lot of kills from. Hard to get wins out of.
変わってくるな。
They were able to defend it very well and get a lot of kills from it. James with 7 though, that's a big one for him. Nice to see, and also nice to see a happy Tixer with the right mouth on and not the alias mouth here with 3 kills. But overall, an interesting fight. We can see Ab here, Tico as well with 4 each. They were able to defend it super well up there.
Tico めちゃかっこいい顔してんな。
They ended up spending too many smokes to get ahead of the road. Ooh, James with 1,000 damage as well.
Oof, yeah, we've seen a few big performances. Jemke is one of those guys that does crop up time and time again for these kinds of numbers popping in. Likewise, T-Bone contributing 600 damage to the Omakun campaign there. Whilst that was going on. But we do have our interview ready with Vasku, who is joining us.
ちょっと待って。今、後ろ誰か歩いてたぞ。この辺。この辺誰か歩いてたぞ、今。
I'm doing good. Just chilling.
Fantastic. fantastic. Well, with that win, you've got yourself 22 points on the board, and you're going to be rivaling for that first place position.
家の人は歩いてた。
Today, you guys had 60 points, and now you've bumped up a lot off the back of that. So did you guys change anything from day 2 to day 3, or what's the thought process there?
お分かりいただけただろうか。
Play more as a team and like just try to do like less individual mistakes. So I think that's the only thing.
Okay, cool. Martin?
I want to hear what did you guys, what was the comms like? What did you guys say when the second circle popped and it went north?
I don't even remember. I think it was like, okay, good circle, boys, let's go. Something like that.
Like, what's the decision?
何人だろうこの
Like,
人。
send it to that specific field because you know it ends up
めっちゃな
there,
まって
like,
ない。
or was that something that kind of when you got to the area and like you could scout it, or was it just we need to take this position?
No,
early?
Bates was just like, okay, boys, let's send it, and we're so fucking late, like us two, and Blitz went there like late.
Okay.
All right, Toby?
I gotta hear from you.
Finland.
Congrats
Hey.
on the win here in the game. I remember back during PEL and PL contenders, me and James Banks, when we were covering contenders, we came up with the T-bone syndrome, which was you doing a lot of damage but not being able to find that many kills despite the damage. When I look through how you guys are sitting individually right now in terms of the insane amounts of damage that you're getting compared to the kills, is it hard? Like, how is it really difficult to find flushes and whatnot in many situations? Because you guys are delivering a ton. Like, you're dealing so much damage, but all of you have almost like twice the damage per kill.
I don't actually know. Like I got like 4 kills still into that, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Okay, fair play. Well, thank you very much, Vasco. Any kind of final shout-outs before we let you go today?
Thanks for like all the support from the fans. I don't know, nothing else.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Vasco, and good luck tomorrow for the final day.
Yeah, thanks.
Good luck tomorrow.
And that was Vasco joining us here from Omaken. Great stuff.
Vasco.
And again, a brilliant end to the day for them. It's
なんか
been a really
TX とかも
good
そうだ
day
けど
in general
Z
over
を
here for
Z
Omaken
って
with the
ス
amount
っ
of
て言うん
points
だ
they were
な。
able to accrue, and they end
Bax
things off
と
with chicken
か
dinner.
TX と
Oh
か。
yeah, it's been great. I mean, again, always amazing to finish off the day with a good game, and for them in particular, they weren't in the mid pack, but they were falling further and further down towards that mid pack in the early games, and now
Wow.
they've jumped up and actually tied with Tornado Energy.
おまかん一気に来たな。やべえ。
Tornado Energy and all
団子っ
sides,
ぷり
they
や
had a
べえ。
lights out day today, and I think if they can bring just any of that momentum into tomorrow, it's I don't know how it happens. I mean, in the beginning, I was very critical of this point system when it first came out, but I gotta say, every single tournament, it comes down to the final game, and I think it's amazing.
Yeah, it's brilliant stuff. We see between 1 and 5, just 9 points between it, Martin, and that tomorrow is gonna be spicy.
It's gonna be so spicy tomorrow. I can't wait, honestly. It's gonna be exciting. I gotta say though, Liquid TSM face
すごいな。
all of them to have dropped down that much. Like usually you and also from a personal kind of opinion, usually you would see these guys like at least one
毎ラウンド
to stay up there.
順位が
But
ゴロゴ
for
ロ変わ
all
りそうだ。
three of them to be knocked off kind of the top 4 and pushed down into this position here. It talks to how good of a game, how good games we have had from Northern Lights, Tornado Energy, but also obviously from Omaken and Ents. Very nice to see Ents on top here. We only have 5 more games to go, and I definitely believe those guys could also do it. They've had a phenomenal day today.
Yeah, as always, Europe provides. Europe gives us some of the best PUBG action from around the globe. There's some great stuff going on elsewhere, but Europe is deep, and we see it exuded up towards the top. That is the end of day number 3 here for PCS1 Europe, and tomorrow is the ultimate day where we get to crown ourselves a champion in Europe. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining me here. Thank you very much to everybody tuning in around the world. You better be back tomorrow, same time, same place, for the final day here of PCS Europe. We'll see you then.
終わった。ディキットな微妙だったな今日は。ペプシー4時ファンか。トイレ行ってこよう。よいしょ。